Wow, Eagles fan is dedicated. Nice. Okay. Give me 1 second. Hola. What's up, Lynn? What's up, Lynn? Trump did what? Zuckerberg did, in fact, come multiple times. Thank you, Eagles fan, for life. Ugh. Okay. Do you have Discord, Eagles fan? It would probably be easier if you joined the Discord, if you have it. To be honest. So there was a crash in DC. Three US soldiers. Three US soldiers as well. If you join Discord, it'd be easier. It might take a second to be verified. Did you join Discord? What's your Discord name? Team America. Airline standards have suffered DEI. I love it. Coming from Kansas. That's crazy. Oh, wait a second. This post is from this morning? A post from this morning. An FAA employee I know confirms agency already lacks sufficient aircraft controllers. Don't make it political. Don't make it political, guys. Don't make it political. Although, we are being warned about this. 1 second. I gotta get to something. I gotta share this. Okay, I'm gonna take Eagle fan first. Thank you, Corey. Yeah, Corey did. Are you in Discord? Are you waiting on one of the chats? If you go in Discord, go into the voice chat that says live caller waiting room if you're in Discord. Let me know when you're in there. You have to get verified. I'm guessing that's you. Okay. I'm ready. Is that you, Jelly Jam? Is that Jelly Jam? Both crashed into the river. Jelly Jam, what number are you gonna contact with? You have to tell me what number or something. Oh, that is you? Here. I'll verify you. Myself. Okay, I verified you. Okay, now that you're verified, you should be able to see the chats. Go into the live caller waiting room, okay? It's in live call-ins. Alright? Yeah, I mean, there's staffing shortages. We knew about this. And Trump didn't care. It's not good to cut your air traffic control hiring. There's a lot of turnover in certain areas, especially when you want to buy out federal employees. Like, they do jobs. Just let me know when you're in the live caller waiting room. It's the voice chat. So you see the live caller waiting room? Like, you can join the voice chat there to talk. Billy Jam. It's right below where you just sent a message. So you can see me in the private chat. Go in one of the chat rooms. I can bring you in. Nice. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me? I'm in the chat with you if you can hear me. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh snap.
You're good. Probably gotta switch over your audio device.
Why can't I hear?
Make sure your audio is set in the right setting.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're in the stream. The stream can hear you too. You might have to switch your audio input, possibly, or your audio X. Hello, can you hear me now? Okay, if you want to call the number, you can call the number too, and that can work. I'll just answer the call until you are the person calling. There's no one calling yet. Can you hear me? Dove, I'm trying to get Jelly Jam connected. What are you doing?
Check. All right, wait. I think we just scared him off. Sorry.
No, it's okay. He's trying to. I think it's a 15-year-old Trump supporter. I think. So we're gonna see how that goes. Yeah, just call in to the phone number, Jelly Jam. I'll answer your call there.
Yeah, that's my bad. Bad timing. Bad timing.
You scared him. You scared him.
Home, so,
You scared him. Look up the plane crash. Crazy stuff going on.
Plane crash? Are you talking about the one in DC, like the helicopter or whatever? Supposedly.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy times.
Yeah. Mistakes happen.
Yeah, well, there was a big thing about the federal freezes. That the air traffic controllers have been understaffed for like a week. And the Democrats put out a motion or whatever, or a statement saying this is really dangerous. We're losing numbers. We don't have enough people to monitor this. And Republicans laughed at it and just like, haha, wokeism. And now, I mean, if this happened under Biden, then they'd be blaming Biden, obviously, because they would just blame him for it. But just in general, like Trump actually did something fundamental. Like he is the reason why we're having hiring issues. I'm not saying it was caused by that, but it's definitely a funny little. Oh, that guy's calling. I'll get back to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good, bro.
I see.
When you have time.
Call from Ashton calls.
Hello?
You're a pussy.
Oh, that's not the right one. This one.
Are you there now?
Hello, is this a Jelly Jam? Or or Eagles?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. What's up?
Okay. I mean, no disrespect. Okay.
No
So-
disrespect? Okay.
I want to make sure this is clear. When we debate, we're both respectful, no insults, and we let each other prove a point. Is that good with you?
Perfect.
Okay. You want to go first?
Whatever you want to do, you can go ahead with whatever you wanted to call in about.
Okay. So, why do you hate Trump so much?
So, when I look at politics in general, and leaders in general, and this can be in sports, it could be in literally anything. The captain of a team, if you have a captain who blames other people for everything, and just is angry all the time and pissed off at the world, and they never give leadership or guidance themselves and never work themselves, they just kind of like call people names and insult, and focus on being angry at someone. I usually look at that person and I think that person's insecure. They're not going to be a good leader. They're probably not going to be very successful in a real sense. So from my experience playing different sports, being a captain of different sports teams, and being in environments where there's a leader, it's just like that person seems like someone who's going to be, I don't know, they seem insecure. I just don't know if that's a good person to be, even not even just politics, but also just a leader of anything, to be honest.
Yeah, true. That's true. I know because I played football too. Well, in this theory, in my opinion, I think he is a good leader so far, and he did an amazing job when he was in office. And with all the stuff on with school, and I know you don't like talking about the trans stuff, but that's a big thing why I support him, because he's against that. Because how it goes in with our school and all that.
Yeah, that's the main reason a lot of people support him. But I would also say being really anti-trans is your main motivation. I don't think that's a really good foundation for you to build your political ideology or your actions. If you're, like I said before, if your actions are determined on hating other people or at least disagreeing, if that's your main motivation. My motivations, for example, I want politics to have less money in it. I want politics to serve people more. I want everyone to have equal rights under the law. I'm really motivated by getting people health care and that kind of stuff. So my main motivations are positive things that I want to build, and I have really clear vision for why I want to do those things and how I want to do those things, and I can give you every plan I would follow on my way there. But then if you ask Trump, for example, what is your healthcare plan? He's been president once. He's been running for president for at least like 10 years now, since 2015. And he still does not have like a healthcare plan, but he does have a really strong opinion on trans people. So do you see sort of where I would go into that conversation and think, yeah, I mean, there's people that have disagreements, but if you're driven by that disagreement or you're driven by anger or fear or whatever it might be, or social issues, it can be a problem moving forward, because then what else do you care about fighting for, if that makes sense?
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's that I think that gives people too much power, because, yeah, that's them expressing, but some people abuse that people that express, because they say they do that, but they actually do not do that. They do that so they can do some bad things to other people.
Is
And
it
if you do
possible
not
that
believe
Trump
me-
is doing that too, though? Is it possible that he has the ability to, like, say popular things for the wrong reasons sometimes?
Oh, hold on, what do you think I'm talking about?
I don't know. Are you saying that someone can have good motivations or talk about things they want to do, but use it for bad things, or?
No, I was meaning by, like, I don't hate people like that.
Okay.
And that's not my, and all that. It's just that people abuse them, that power that they have, to do some bad things.
What power are we talking about? Like, which power do you mean?
In some schools, they allow, if you identify yourself as the other gender, you can go into that bathroom. People abuse that, and it's bad things have happened to people because of that. And plus, I think he's a good leader, and I think he will secure borders and all that. But that's my opinion. People disagree, and I understand why.
So when we have every bit of data we have, and data is important, we need to make sure we have good data because that's the only way we can really see trends for different groups, or also we can track things in society such as what groups commit what crimes. So by far, I think 90% of assaults in like bathrooms, for example, are committed by white men who are not trans, not gay, not anything, just white men. So when we talk about trans people in bathrooms, that's actually one of the demographics that's the most likely to not do anything wrong in a bathroom. So I feel like that issue, when people talk about trans stuff, it's usually because they're uncomfortable with the concept of being trans in general, and not necessarily because they know or they understand it or think there's a present danger. And I could even go through like, you know, what being trans means, how that happens, even biologically, because it is scientific based. It's not really, you know, just social stuff. It really is science based. I mean, if you want to go through that, we can. But I do think there's a lot of stuff where people just like, they're uncomfortable with the new concept that we haven't seen before. And there's always an adjustment period in society for accepting it, is what I would say.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I disagree with it. But also, one thing is if kids are able to do it. Yes, they should be able to express themselves in all matters necessary. You should be able to have freedom. Well, but they get it driven in there. But then, like for some kids, teachers, they driven into them. Parents, they drove into them. Friends drove into them. But then they end up doing it. And then later, they end up regretting it. And then they can't take it back.
So, so for example, for those who get gender care, so like surgeries, the success rate and the happiness rate is like 98%. The regret rate is only 2%, which is a lot lower than even it is for going on antidepressants or getting, you know, other surgeries in general that are gender affirming. So gender affirming care is also, if you get plastic surgery, if you're a woman, for example, or a man, if you get wrinkles removed, that's also gender affirming care, even if you're not trans. But when it comes to all gender affirming care, trans people and gender affirming surgeries is one of the highest rates of, you know, happiness after getting that done. And I would say every single liberal I know, including politicians or Democrats, would say that anyone under 18 should not be able to get any irreversible procedures done. I don't know one politician who, I mean, you could probably find one, but as far as policy proposed and any politician who's known nationally, or even most politicians for Democrats, I guarantee you most Democrats, if you ask them about like surgeries, nothing irreversible done before 18. But I guess I would need to ask you, in general, if you think that being trans is not a thing, that's usually the main point, because if someone does not believe being trans is a thing, then after that, they're going to disagree with everything to do with it. Just like if you think being gay is not real, a lot of the same arguments against trans people were also used against gay people for a long time, and they still are to some extent, but now trans people are the main focus. So do you believe that like being trans is a real thing?
Okay, I'm going to put this in a nice way.
Okay.
I do not like it. I think it's wrong, in my opinion, but I don't get to decide that.
For what reasons do you think it's wrong?
I just think how you were made, that's how you were made. I know if you don't like it, you don't like it, but I think it's wrong. But gays and lesbians, I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that.
What if you're born with a crippling condition health-wise in general, like physically? I don't know, your arm has like your arm is made in a way where you can't actually move your arm and use it, and you need a surgery to fix that. Should you like stay with a broken arm from birth, or should that person be able to change, although they were born, you know, with that defect?
Okay. Yeah, you should be able to change that, but that's different than what I mean. Like, with all that, that's with, like, your body and all. Yeah, that's with your body, but that's with your, like, I don't know how to put that. Because I'm also trying to be mature, because I'm not with all your guys' ages, and I will get in trouble if I become a little bit immature. So I'm trying to say, like, I don't think you should be able to change that. That's who you are.
So there's a lot of, if you want to go through the biology, we can, on like one of the main theories and also tested in science of why people, why people are trans. Do you want to go through that from birth, like in the womb and everything?
Yeah, sure.
So are you familiar with like the first 7 weeks, that a fetus is actually, sharing the characteristics of a female until like 7 weeks?
What?
So like when you're born as a fetus or an embryo, like as you develop after conception, your first 7 weeks in the womb, when your heart starts, your first 7 weeks, you have the same characteristics as a female.
Yeah.
And are you familiar with like the ovaries that women have?
No.
So like ovaries are kind of, it's in a woman. I could, for the stream. So ovaries are kind of like the opposite of what balls are. So that is inside the woman reproductive organ. Okay. And the ovaries are down the fallopian tube. So when the birds and the bees happen, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So the ovaries are in a woman. It plays a role in female reproduction. But the ovaries, if you look at pictures of them, they are balls. Okay. So women's ovaries are male balls that went down a different chemical path. So like when you're in the womb, different hormones and different factors will aid or change the way you develop into a person with different physical characteristics in the womb, and chromosomes play a role for sure. But men and women, there's a reason men have nipples as well. There's a lot of crossover organs between men and women, and even our brains have different sizes that are normal for men and normal for women. But sometimes men will have brains that more mirror women, and if you do brain scans, and sometimes women will have brains that more mirror men, typically. Does any of that sound like something you disagree with or have questions about?
Okay, so I kind of understand what you're saying, but I kind of don't. So we can move to a different topic if you want, so we both feel comfortable with that.
Well, the main thing I need to get across is that being trans is a biological function largely. There's social stuff at play too because of gender and how gender works in society. But the reason why trans people suffer from a thing called gender dysphoria, in the most simple way possible, it's kind of like if you're born into the wrong body. And it makes sense that if you're in the womb and you don't have any characteristics of either sex until a certain point, different hormones influence you in the womb. It changes the way you develop. It changes, different parts of your brain. There is a thing called intersex as well, where someone has both body parts, or they have a really pronounced body part that looks a little bit different, but they are intersex with different makeups. So male, female, intersex are three biologically, biological sex that everyone needs to, agree with, because that's just how it works. But when it comes to gender, it's complicated because when you're in the womb, if we have all these different body parts, like I said, the balls, like your balls are like ovaries in a woman, and a lot of different body parts are transferred, kind of like men and women share them, and it makes sense that in that process, you'll have some men who end up having brains that are more similar to what we typically find in women. And you'll have some women that have brains that we typically would find more in men. And in most individuals that have gender dysphoria who are trans, it's something that's in their brains where it is a sense of your brain was put in the wrong body, and the solution to that, it causes great discomfort, anxiety, depression for trans people, and the solution to that is being able to transition. So we can go to a different form of it, a different topic, but usually when we talk about the trans topic, in general, we don't get to go over all the biological factors that do lead to gender dysphoria and a lot of other things becoming very real, not only in experience but also as a function of biology. But if you don't know much about that, I would just say we could talk another time. You can look up a couple of those things. We can get back to that.
Okay. Well, we can just tell that as agree to disagree. Okay, but what's your opinion on furries? What about that?
I'll tell you what, I've seen one furry in my life, and it was like 5 years ago. I really don't have an opinion. If they want to do whatever, then they can do whatever. I mean,
okay. My thing with that though is because now schools are getting involved with that, and like schools near me, you might not know because I don't know if it's gone viral or whatever, but schools near us are like there's kids identifying themselves as dogs and cats, and the schools are putting in the bathrooms as litter boxes and all that for them.
Are you sure that's happening? Where's that happening at?
It's somewhere in Perry County. Our librarian used to work there, but then she came here because of it. And a lot of kids who came from that school have said the same thing because they had to move because of it.
So, all right, don't mention any locations, but in general, there's no evidence of that happening anywhere in the country. And that was something spread on Joe Rogan that he believed, and now a lot of people believe that, but there's no evidence that litter boxes were put in any bathrooms anywhere. And all the schools that were accused of that have denied it, and there's been already media there, and that's not a real thing. So if you heard that online, I mean, you don't need to tell me that, but if you did hear it online, just know that there's no proof of that. And I would definitely verify your sources if you're told things like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, TikTok and YouTube are the worst sites to use for freaking information.
And it's fine. It's fine if I see stuff that I believe all the time that ends up being wrong. And it's like, wow, that's freaking annoying. But yeah, it's not bad to. It's a looking up stuff in general and being able to say like, yeah, I got that wrong. It's probably one of the most it's one of the best and most powerful things you could possibly do. One of the weakest, easiest things to do is to not admit when you're wrong, is to not have humility, not have discipline. Because a lot of people, and you could hear me on my streams, like a lot of people just lash out, start screaming if they think they're wrong on something. But being able to have a conversation, and I appreciate you calling and saying like, let's have a good conversation, let's go back and forth, all that kind of stuff. That's a good basis for this. But a lot of people can't do that. So being able to admit we're wrong, like that's something, dude, that's something like 1% of the population can handle doing. So if you could even, if you could do that at all, even just saying, yeah, I was wrong about that, that is an extreme skill. I have issues with it. Everyone has issues with it, but definitely no shame in like being like, oh, well, that was a weird thing on the internet. But I mean, in general, these are a lot of new concepts. It's hard to disseminate what's real, what's not real. And also we end up believing in versions of each other that might be, it's hard if we're making opinions off of each other based off what I see on the news. Like if I see on CNN that Trump supporters are a certain way, and I believe all of that, then I can form a really negative opinion about someone without ever meeting them, and the same way vice versa.
Yeah. That's what I hate about that. Like, the thing about it is that it brings it where people who support different things, they fight and argue, and they don't give each other the respect that they deserve and all that. That's one bad thing about this. Like, with people with like democracy, it's good, but people like to argue and fight a lot about it.
Yeah, people lie a lot about. I mean, there was one thing said today. Well, yesterday, the White House said this. This is one thing I would say again about not liking Trump. The White House and Trump said that we were sending $50 million, and this might be inappropriate, but $50 million in condoms to Palestine. And that was just, if you ever see that story, that was completely made up. But there's a couple other stories that, that Trump completely made up. that also make me just like not trust him. Because I mean, I would think I expect politicians to like stretch the truth, you know, make things sound more popular. There's a lot of things that like he'll say that I'm like, well, that's just like completely fabricated and completely made up. Like we just made that up yesterday, and we have no evidence of it. And that's one reason. Another reason why I don't like the environment he creates, because it kind of does make it hard to have conversations. Because a lot of people don't want to admit when they're wrong. So if they believe that, then we have a conversation about it. It's really difficult to sort of come back and have a productive conversation after a couple of the things.
Okay.
Like one thing, I'm sorry, I just thought of a really good point too with the trans topic and trans people. So Trump also said during the campaign that they were sending kids to school, giving them sex change surgeries, and then they were coming home a different gender, getting their genitals mutilated. And that's something that is not happening anywhere. Like that is unironically just like made up. Like schools can't even give Tylenol out to kids without contacting their parents. And Trump said this on every campaign stop. And that's the kind of thing that can make you have a negative view of a group. That's not true. That may have you like interpret it a little bit different. So that's one thing he said during the campaign that I would definitely point out as like a top thing that relates back to the conversation we were having. But sorry.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one. Well, what you call it? Forgot what we were talking about for a moment. Well, what was I thinking? Well, one thing though. The thing also I like about Trump is I even looked at this myself from when he was in office the first time compared to then once he was out of office. And also, I mean, no offense to your opinions and how you respect Joe Biden and all that, to how when Joe Biden was in office. And when I compared them, Trump's prices were lower, so it was easier. And then, through my experience, it was easier with me and my family, and we were able to do more fun things, like go on vacation and all that.
So on that topic, I would say, so if you look at American history, most of our greatest leaders are judged by not just prices or just by metrics like that. It's how they were able to deal with really bad crisis and really bad wars and all that kind of stuff. So you think about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, helping lead us through World War II and building back from that. Or you think about LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, leading us through the civil rights movement and passing a lot of those laws, or even Martin Luther King Jr. or Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War period, and on the way to freeing slaves in America. A lot of our greatest leaders, did not have great metrics when they were in office, but they were able to go through really weak things. And I do think, by the way, I think Biden's a terrible speaker and a messenger, but it's really hard to look at their prices in comparison because we had a big financial crisis in 2008, and Barack Obama became president after that. We had one of the worst financial crises of all time in 2008, and Obama had to bring us back from that. And the economy was really good after his first term, and throughout Obama's second term, which ended in 2016, our economy was growing at a faster pace than what ended up happening under Trump. So I like to say, if you ever heard about the phrase like participation trophy, Trump got a big participation trophy during his presidency. And I would say that you can exist in the environment that you're president in, but you need to say like, what did you do to influence the economy being good? So we should have reasons why Trump was good for the economy. Like, what did he do? And when you look through the policies, I'll be like, even in the best interpretation, he did tax cuts, which mostly went to the ultra wealthy. But other than that, he did almost nothing to the economy. He just kind of let it ride after Obama. Meanwhile, we had COVID happen in 2020, which led to another great economic depression. And the inflation under Biden, which made the prices go higher, came in every country globally after COVID. Huge crisis. So it's kind of like, if a house is burning down and a firefighter comes and you blame the firefighter for, the part of the house, the house that got burnt. During COVID coming out of it, America was number one globally. We were the number one economy in the world under Joe Biden coming back from COVID. Although we had a lot of issues going into COVID and coming out of it, super high inflation, super high immigration numbers, which is also a result of COVID. The way we were able to be number one in the world, that's all we got to compete with at that time. Like we can compare it to before COVID, but that doesn't make as much sense, right? Because we're comparing it to the playing field we're in now, the league we're in now. We're not talking about yesterday. We're talking about, during the pandemic, who led the world? And it was America. And every country had high prices and had higher inflation and had there were like $10 gas prices in Europe. Prices went up a lot more in those countries. But in America, ours, even though there was a tough period with high inflation, ours were still better than those countries worldwide. And Biden passed a lot of laws. He invested in American infrastructure and American manufacturing through laws that got passed and a lot of other different bills. One called the American Rescue Plan. There's a lot of things Biden did that I saw as helping us get out of that crisis. And although, Biden got blamed for the inflation, he didn't cause it. It was happening before Trump left office. Like we had a really bad economy before Trump left because of COVID. It's not his fault COVID happened. But also, when I look at Trump's presidency, just for future reference, I cannot locate what Trump did to make that good because there's no improvement off of Obama's final term. Meanwhile, Biden brought us back from the COVID recession better than any other country globally. Does that make sense in my thought process there?
Yeah. Well, also another reason I like him is because he was very good at business and able to negotiate with other foreign countries. Like when he was in office, China, they were friends with us, and Russia, they're friends with us, and a whole lot of other states. Well, and now he's trying to make and convince Canada to become a state with us, which I think would be a very good job if he could do it. It would be hard, but I think that would be actually a very good thing.
Speaking of negotiations, why do you think he wants Canada?
Oil, supplies, money.
It really confuses me when he talks about that because Trump complained when he ran in 2016 about NAFTA, which was the North American Free Trade Agreement, I believe. And that was a deal with Mexico and Canada, is our trade agreement with them and how we do trade. Under Trump's presidency, he negotiated his own trade deal called the USMCA. So Trump complains, when he complains about trade with China or Mexico, for some reason he complains about the trade deal that he made. So I definitely keep that in mind. And also, in general, foreign policy is difficult to track. I would say as Trump's business for Trump's business credentials, if you look at the books, he lost a lot of money and he had a lot of bankruptcies. He did. He got $400 million from his father at birth, essentially, or he inherited $400 billion from his father throughout his life, not at birth, but throughout his life. His father co-signed on a bunch of different loans for Trump when he went bankrupt a few times. Most of Trump's earnings are from reality television and branding deals. And that's fine. You could be a reality TV star and brand. But he was never a chief executive of a successful company. He did some real estate, he did some acting, and he did some branding deals, some logos, and he's really good at that. He's a great marketer. I think that's his best ability is MAGA, making all these different things into slogans, making them make sense to people. Knowing his audience, he's really, really, really good at that. But when it comes to managing businesses or managing transactions, I haven't seen him, and by the way, this is an ongoing conversation. I want to see you around the channel. We have great discussions, and in our Discord too. We have a lot of debates in there all the time. But yeah, just in general, I never saw our trade relationship with Canada was very, or with China under Trump was very difficult. And Trump's trade war, this is really in the weeds, really complicated. But in Trump's trade war with China, when he did tariffs on China, which is an import tax on American companies, China retaliated with their own tariffs. And the tariffs that China did hurt American farmers. And then Trump had to bail out American farmers with a lot of money. That's a little bit of a more complicated thing, but that's my whole look on Trump. I want to know, my big things with any politician, okay? What are your goals? How are you going to get those goals? And when something happens, was it them doing it or someone else? Do they deserve blame for something? Do they deserve credit for something? Because a lot of presidents, and you could look up any president in U.S. history, a lot of presidents just get lucky, and a lot of presidents get unlucky. Like for example, the pandemic. Like that was a really unlucky thing for Trump to have in his final year politically. So there's a lot of things we have to really take, take as much work as we can to identify like what they're doing, what policies work, even just for our own knowledge. You know what I mean? So we have an understanding of kind of what they do.
Yeah. And another reason I like him is because he's like you said, when it comes to a politician you look at their goals. I like how he has as one of his goals to strengthen our borders, where where less people can come in without permission and going through the proper process, or with people trying to invade. And that's another reason why I like him.
So with the border, there's issues with our immigration system that he never talks about. So like why it's broken when it comes to how long it takes us to give a path to becoming a citizen. There's a lot of really hardworking people in America who have been on working visas for years or decades or a long time. And we kept promising we'd give a path to citizenship, and we never did. And Trump never really talks about that part of immigration, like making it easier to become a citizen the right way. He only talks about the wall and deportations. So I would love to hear an actual policy from him on how to fix immigration, because deportations doesn't fix immigration. A wall doesn't fix immigration. We need a real plan, a real leader. We need to expand our ability to, there's different things called asylum seekers. There's people running from dangerous places. And America, we have laws that tell us to accept certain people. And we have a legal process for that. And we should be fixing that legal process and doing as much as we possibly can. But with the deportations right now, I would just be careful. He said he was going after like violent criminals, but only around like 50% of the deportations so far have been violent criminals. Around like 40 or 50% have been people who commit no crime. And people don't really know, but overstaying a working visa is not a criminal offense. So those people who have been like working in America for 10, 15, 20 years, they've been hardworking members of our communities, paying taxes, raising families. They're well known in the communities. They've never done anything wrong. Those people, I want them to have a path to citizenship. I'm not happy Trump is deporting them. I think most people would support deporting someone who is, violent, who commits a violent crime, someone who truly does, come in illegally. I think most people agree with deporting them. But right now, I don't want to see people get deported who have been told by presidents for years and years and years that we're going to make a path to citizenship for them. And after all their hard work, they get ripped away from their family and tossed to a country they haven't been in 20 years. So I definitely want to see that fixed. And one other point that's happening right now, Trump's policies are very lax, so they're very aggressive. And you might like them being aggressive, but I would say also they're violating due process in the legal system for a lot of people. They've already accidentally detained American citizens because they thought they looked like immigrants, which can bring in some race issues there. It sounds a little racist if you say you look like an immigrant, even if you have documentation. There have been Americans detained who are not illegal or undocumented at all. And also, they detain U.S. military vets also because they said they look like immigrants, which is also a really, cringy thing to say. But also, it seems like you're profiling on the basis of, race or culture or like an accent or something. So we've had U.S. vets be detained by Trump's ICE. So, like, would you agree at all with that? By the way, like, if someone's here on a working visa, so they had permission to work in America, that visa ran out. Do you think that person that has been paying taxes and working hard, do you think they should have a path to citizenship, for example?
Yeah, I think if you came to America for salvation or a job and you went through the proper process, you should be able to stay. But if you came here illegally, jumping the borders, or coming here like the wrong way, you should be out.
One of the big things that's happening right now, you ever hear the stories about like immigrants being in like hotels with phones and stuff?
Yeah.
So in those instances, it's a sign of our broken system. It's not their fault. You know what I mean? People usually say those are illegal immigrants that deserve to be deported, and they're going to be deported under Trump. They will be deported. But these are people seeking the proper legal way to get in. But what's happening is their court dates are so far away. Their court dates keep on getting pushed back further and further and further because we have a dysfunctional system, and they're waiting and waiting and waiting to go there. But the idea that we're losing track of people, it just doesn't make sense because if they have phones, they're being tracked. If they're living in housing, they're being tracked. We know who they are. We know where they are. So those stories are not about the problem. You know what I mean? Like that is the problem, but not in the sense of these are people we need to get out of the country. That's a sign of our broken system. And I feel like we even owe people, like you said, seeking salvation. It's a very, a very Christian approach as well, but just seeking salvation, or who have been working here for a long time and their visa runs out, and it's like they were kind of promised, like, we're going to give you a path to citizenship, but we never fixed it. I feel like that's our personal responsibility to fix that system. I feel like we don't talk about that enough. We do focus on the deportations and the wall, and all I would ask is, once Trump is done with his deportations and his border security, if he doesn't pivot, if he does not put more work into legal immigration and making that easier, I just want everyone to call him out on that, whether you're Republican, Democrat, because that's something everyone agrees with. So I want everyone just to have that opinion and make sure we can come as in a bipartisan way, where, like, if you're doing it the right way, you should be able to become a citizen. But the lack of a right way is leading a lot of desperate people to take desperate actions, which I definitely sympathize with. But being unprepared is bad in general, I would say, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I have one thing that you and me will both agree on, and this is not about Trump or anything. Our military and police, and them deserve a lot more money than they do get. Because me and my friend were just going over jobs, and I was thinking about joining the military. Well, we were wondering how much they got paid anyway, because people say they get paid so less than that they deserve. And we looked at it, and it made us mad because our military doesn't get paid what they deserve for putting their life on the line and legally getting shot at every second. And our police are getting shot for no reason, for over a ticket, or ran over because they're pulling over people with motorcycles. And firefighters are running into flaming buildings, and they don't get paid what they deserve for what they do, especially in the military. Because their highest rank, the general, if you look at it, that is the only rank in the military that you actually get paid over 100K, and they don't even get over 300K a year. I think I have to check that again.
Well, a lot of the discussions around funding for these areas is a little bit complicated on, like, what is funded, how it's funded. So, for example, there's a lot of Democrats, like the whole defund the police thing. That was a very small portion of the left that said that, but it was really unpopular, so the right repeated it a lot. But even in some of those programs, they wanted to give more funding, but just not call it, like, police funding. So, for example, you'd have, as part of policing, social workers, or give police some social work training to help de-escalate, more de-escalation training. It's not even going to be, like, you don't even got to call it social work, but more de-escalation training. And I'm definitely sympathetic to, like, if your life is on the line, I would say, like, give more training, have an ability to move up in different ways. If someone, and I believe they do have programs like that too, where some, like, for example, some police, if you have a criminology degree or something, where you've done extra training, you can qualify for some type of higher pay or positioning. But I mean, in general, a lot of the spending for different industries goes to the wrong places. So, as far as moving those systems around, it's complicated, but it is like the police is very decentralized. There's a lot of different police offices and different ways that states do state police and state funding and local funding and all that kind of stuff. The military gets a lot of funding increases. But people can argue that we spend too much money paying, like, defense contractors for weapons and not enough in making sure the personnel is taken care of. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's not a big political thing.
Yeah. Well, I gotta go because it's late and I have to make sure I get on the bus on time tomorrow.
Yeah, get on the bus. Don't miss school.
Yeah.
The Trump bus.
Thank you for being able to talk to me, and thank you, Corey, for paying for me to be able to talk. And thank you for being respectful and having a good conversation. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, pleasure talking to you as well. Like I said, I hope to see you around the channel. We'll be having these conversations all the time. Some of them will be fun. Some will be fun if there's someone that's like a troll calling in. I'm definitely gonna joke around with them and make fun of them. But if people call in like you do and are chill, then we're gonna have a real conversation. All right. Thank you for calling in. Don't miss the bus. Have a great night, man.
Have a good day.
Oh, that was loud. I'm trying to save the country from radicalizing the youth. Okay, that's a Aiden Ross viewer. If you enjoy my content, please drop a like, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I wanted to keep that conversation going because I think those combos are probably the most important. That convo I just had is the exact conversation Democrats cannot have in a good way with young white men, right? So I'm trying to demonstrate a way that you can talk to people in a way that's convincing. You don't need to give up on your issues. You don't need to give up on your values. You do not need to do that. But you can be very straightforward about it. I started off with a sports analogy, right? I connected it back to a lot of other topics. I made it feel more welcoming connecting to those points, and went into different avenues. I clearly expressed that I have a clear understanding for what I believe, why I believe it, and why I confidently believe it. And I gave the space saying that we don't need to have this conversation right now. You know, if you want to look up more information, that's fine. You know, we're not going to yell at you for having these opinions. We're not going to say you're transphobic. Okay. We're going to keep on informing and slightly moving people over and slightly presenting our opinion. Bro. Vert stream died? What do you mean it died? It did die. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I think it's back up now. Is my stream back up? Is the vertical stream back up? Yeah, thank you for the donation. But yeah, those are actually for the YouTube. The conversation I have with this 15-year-old, okay, is the big conversation that Democrats are unable to have. I can have these conversations. I'm good at it, okay? So like my video, comment, subscribe, leave a donation at Joel Politics on Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo, and enjoy the rhetorical approach that can convince people to be on your side without being weird. Okay, so also being like, you know what ovaries are? Ovaries are like the girl, it's like the balls. It's like balls, dude. Okay, one big thing. Okay. So the So the crash today in DC, there's a big debate among the political left on if we should bring up politics in this conversation because Trump was warned by Democrats not to put a freeze on hiring air traffic controllers. He wants to remove a lot of our agencies that make sure we have safe airports, that make sure we can staff the FAA, and a bunch of other different parts of the federal government that Trump is tearing apart. The debate on whether to make this a political topic, because the right wing, if a plane crashed under Biden's watch, they would relentlessly be making this a political topic, blaming Joe Biden. I guarantee you. Any money. Okay? So when we have this conversation, I agree. Don't make it political, but do reference Republicans would make this political. And also, Donald Trump doing these hiring freezes for air traffic controllers could have contributed to more events happening with, tragedies concerning planes and flights in general. And we need to just say, this is a terrible event. We don't want it to happen in the future, and that's why we care. That's why we care about talking about the policies that Trump is doing right now, because what Trump's doing is making future events like this more likely. Okay, that's the big point of this entire conversation. So don't make it political, but reference that the right would, but this is one of the main things we want to avoid in society. And it's a terrible tragedy. I think there was it was an Army helicopter and a passenger American Airlines flight from Kansas. So yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to be in this political environment where the political right can just like call people vermin and swine and poison the blood of America and want to just like enact harm on them 24/7. And then the left, you cannot do anything spicy at all. And I agree with that. Our politics should not be focused around anger, hate, and division. But it's also like the FAA employees are talking about being understaffed. They are talking themselves about being understaffed. They've been for the past week. There was a big post this morning about an FAA employee saying they're understaffed. So when something like this happens, you probably think like, how can we make it more safe? And I saw Republicans today talking about how like we should have airlines do their own security. The TSA is not needed anymore. Destroy the TSA. Tough times, bro. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. You know I'm a conservative, but I like the way you handled that, so I support you for that. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And also, thank you, I'm your daddy now. Kids, back in my day, eggs and toilet paper were so cheap and bountiful that we used to throw them at the houses of people we didn't like. That is crazy, though. Eggings are going down, bro. Eggings are going down. Thank you. Thank you, Benny, for the $5 super chat. Will it be possible to reverse all of the damage that's currently happening and the damage that is yet to come? Yeah, it's possible. I mean, we made it through. We restructured the entire world after World War II, but it's difficult. God, it's so hard. Donald Trump puts a freeze on hiring air traffic controllers. Democrats warn him that can be dangerous. And then FAA employees say they're understaffed. A major plane crash happens tonight. We know that Joe Biden, if he was president, that Republicans would politicize it to death. But the left can't do that because we care about people. But we should still talk about, But we should still talk about how what Trump's doing right now is going to cause more of these events in the future. Even if this one isn't Trump's fault, because it's, it just happened. Rest in peace to all the victims of this terrible tragedy. But we should also reference that these employees are saying, hey, we need help. And Republicans are talking about getting rid of the TSA and a bunch of other different regulations. We just need to understand the federal government does a lot of great jobs, but when they are gone, bad things happen. Because when they're doing a good job, you don't know when they're doing a good job. You don't know they're doing a good job because if they're doing a good job, then you are free from a lot of these issues. So like, we cannot blame Trump for this, but we can still point towards general. I don't know, dude. It's a tough one. I just don't know what to say because Republicans are already blaming it on dude. I don't know what I can say. Republicans are already blaming it on DEI and on gender and whatever. If this happened under Joe Biden, they would definitely say it's because of feminism or lesbians. They would definitely say that. They said it about the California fires just a week ago, just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. The California fires. They made the president is withholding disaster aid, but we can't say one thing about how he cut the FAA agents and how he's cutting air traffic controllers, like literally holding up aid for California. But we can't say one thing that can lead to more plane crashes in the future that he's messing up on. That literal employees are saying there's shortages. Like he can make fun of a disaster like that, lie about it constantly, but the left needs to live up to the standard where we can't literally say anything about it. And there's still dumb people, okay, dumb people saying the qualification because they have to hit a diversity quota. So the jobs should go to someone who has the qualifications. That's not happening, brother. The thing that's happening is legacy, rich, the wealthy. The wealthy are taking over society, but you're obsessed over race and gender. You're a social justice warrior. You're obsessed over it. Get a life. Like you just repeat whatever you hear. Now, don't say I do, because I make people repeat things that I say. People repeat things I say, and they hear from me. Like Trump sexual. Say it, guys. Say Trump sexual. Do it. Republicans are saying we don't need TSA. They're saying we need less air traffic controllers. They put a freeze on hiring. They got warned from Democrats that it might be an issue. And now we cannot say one thing about those topics because of the crash. And yeah. There you go. There's at least two saying Trump sexual. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, say it. Oh no. Hey, I already had people saying it, so you could chill. The current administration is full of DEI hires. Like, Pete Hegseth is a DEI hire.
And
I heard people try to say libsexual. I'm like, it does not flow, brother. Morals, 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 morals. How do we operate in the political environment where like negativity gets rewarded if we can't be negative? But if we're negative, they're gaslighters. We have to give our own narrative. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. But that's the intent. The intent is for it to be frustrating. It is like an abusive relationship. It's directly that. Ryan, you look like you're a man of a persuasion. I'm not gonna say what kind, but you're also commenting on my channel. So if I'm a loser, then what are you? You're commenting. You're in the comment section. You're on the bleachers, bro. You're in the bleachers right now. You're in the bleachers. What are you doing? All right. Anyone that actually watches my channel, go to the horizontal stream. I'm shutting down the short stream for tonight. Go to the horizontal. Demisexuality? Yeah, I'm demisexual, so I respect intelligence. Is that what that is? Demisexual. Emotional connection. Crap, wrong one. Whatever. Oh crap, someone sent me money to talk. You still want to talk? Are you still here? I didn't see it till now because I had a long conversation. Wait, let me see it real quick. If you're still here, we can talk. Another person too. Corey? Corey paid again for the 15-year-old. Thank you. Crap, there's one more person that wanted to talk. Crap, okay. What was his number? Okay, we can do it. They just called. All right. I'm going to reset my shorts stream one more time. I'm restarting. No. Crap. No. I'm not restarting. I'm restarting the shorts stream. Okay, then I'll answer your phone call. I see you call in, the person that Venmo'd me. Or the person that Cash App'd to call in. Okay, I'll call you after I restart my short stream. 1 second, buddy. Sorry. He's Pat Coffee. I'm restarting, bro. I'm restarting. $5. Thank you. You are a voice that is needed in this space. Don't ever let Maggie tell you different. Thank you, Benny. I appreciate you, Benny. Thank you, Droll fan account. Thank you, mods. Did I drink dairy again? Yeah, if you want to donate as well, super chats are awesome, and I'll read them on stream. But if you want to do just like a general donation, I still read the messages. But if you go through Venmo or Cash App, you can also donate. Venmo or Cash App also works. And you can send a message on those on Venmo and Cash App too. Droll Politics. But if you just want to donate, then those are the best ways to do it. If you're just trying to contribute money to the show to help us get new equipment. I need to get new equipment for my my USB devices need an extra power supply, and that's like $60. And then I might need a new power supply for my computer and RAM. So that's a few dollars too. I appreciate all the donations. All right, 1 second. Let me restart the shorts. I'll call you back 1 second. Thank you, Benny. That is very kind. Really appreciate it. Shut up. 86. All right. He's so crazy. All spray. Start your engines. True. How you 15 to understand Trump? Well, he didn't. But I tried leading him in the right direction. You also need to realize, like, you're not gonna move anyone over in one conversation, especially a 15-year-old. So like that person now, when they see stuff, they're gonna question it a little bit more, right? And when they come across certain ideologies, they might question it slightly, and that's a good thing. And they'll think about me, the chill liberal, that Kamala, making all these commas. I made a rap line earlier. It was like, you've been on social media. Wait, shit. No, it was like, the rap line was, I don't care about social media. I gotta get it first. You keep on talking. It's obvious you never met a verse. White lives matter, baby. Thank you. Thank you. Someone sent me a donation for excellent... Dude, I can't read this out loud. For excellent rapping. They gave me $10 for excellent rapping. Thank you for the Cash App. For excellent articulation and knowledge. Thank you. I would never say these things about myself. Okay. Drop a like. Okay, the short stream is up again. I'm going to take this call from the guy that donated to call in. I mean, it is a good business model. And I know the guy said about making money. That's not the point for me doing this, obviously. I really don't. That's not the point. And I want to be able to... And they say white women can't rap. That's crazy. That's a good insult, though. Jackson, calm down. Listen to my message, you pussy. Let's talk MF. Shut up, dude. God, shut up. Your mom's going to hear you upstairs. Shut up, dude. Yeah, I don't want you to wake her up. That's not going to be good for anyone, bro. Anyone involved, including us. Your mom's going to hear you yelling at me. Shut up. Oh, crap. Hello, this is Joel from the YouTube.
Hey, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
Nothing much is going on. How are you?
Thanks for calling me. I've been watching and screaming at the same time, and I just wanted to, actually make a recommendation, and again, just kind of applaud you on everything. But
Okay. I have to 1 second. Sorry. I just like locked. Does anyone know how you unlock? Okay, never mind. I fixed it now. Okay, you're good to go. I locked my volume in my like device, so you were super loud, but you are fixed now. But yeah, sorry.
yeah,
What's up?
yeah, and my voice travels or it's loud anyways, naturally. So sorry about that, everybody. No,
No,
but
no, it's not your
yeah,
fault.
like I was saying, and I guess I'll mention again, this crash, since you just talked about it a second ago, and you're right, it's horrible. Before you had even said it, like I said, I'm watching and I'm screaming, and I was like, mention the fucking California fires. I mean, that was just disgusting. And here's the difference that I hope people can see. And like you said, with Democrats now, we need to focus on like, hey, we're not being negative. We're saying like this could happen again versus, with the California fires with Trump, it was all negative. And again, they were mentioning DEI. Oh, look, you've got a black mayor or black woman mayor. Look at the fire chief. Like
It's the
that is the
lesbians.
exact, and it's just completely, like you
And we're
said,
saying actual policy. We're saying actual policy that led to Trump not
yeah,
hiring more air traffic controllers. The FAA employees were saying they're understaffed. So we're talking about actual policies that may have played a role. We don't know yet, so we're not going to blame Trump for this. But Trump's policies are moving towards a future where this happens more often.
it's awful. And I just wish people would just take a moment to step back and like really look at things, which brings me to the reason why I wanted to call. I did listen to you have that conversation with the younger gentleman there, and that was very hard to listen to for a variety of reasons. And I understand exactly what you were trying to do. You were trying to, properly inform this person who, to me, I just don't understand, to have such strong opinions on topics, and then as you dig deeper, you find out, hey, you don't really know anything about it. And that's what I think, I don't know, just as Americans, like, why do we do that? And so, like I
It's
said,
weak.
I
Yeah,
understand.
it's weakness.
I understand like your reason. You were trying to, inform him and teach him about things. And and again, you were going on like long tirades, which I would recommend maybe slowing that down a little bit or cutting it up, because when, you were finished and you asked him, how does that sound? All we got was, yeah. And then he's like, and
Well,
you know what
I
else?
will
I have an
say there's a
opinion.
method to that
Okay. Help
because
me
I
understand
sound
it.
like I'm smart. I sound like I know what I'm doing. I do know what I'm doing also, but he doesn't. He can't really engage in the conversation. But he's going to remember me as that chill liberal guy, and he's going to say, wow, he knew a lot of stuff, and he had real reasons for believing it. And the people I watch, they don't. Like, what did I know? I actually had no idea. I didn't call him out directly, but he knew, just like the Ben Shapiro effect. Like, people thought he was smart when he's actually, like, one of the dumbest people to ever
Yeah,
exist.
I
It
know.
is the same effect, and I'm saying, like, I'm spitting cold, hard facts. And I did know during it. I'm like, this kid does not know what
Not at
Abraham
all.
Lincoln did. He does not know what FDR did. He did not know. And just bringing up those
Exactly.
examples, I'm just
Yeah.
saying there are leaders. We judge them by overcoming difficult things, not just like what do you do when things are good? What do you do when things are bad? So that's my entire goal there. And I mean, I agree if I'm talking to someone that's more sentient and able to engage. But I also just like I tried planting seeds as much as possible. When he goes and listens back to the conversation or calls in again, now he's gonna ask all those questions like, how does he know so much? But the people I support, there's like, I don't like trans people, and it's like I feel
Yeah.
like that confidence can win over eventually. But being chill matters because they have that stereotype that liberals are gonna yell at them, call them transphobic. Which, by the way, most liberals I know probably would have called that kid transphobic and totally shut
See,
off his
now,
brain and made it easier to radicalize him. Like it's a
now,
difficult thing.
Jola, I'm going to disagree with you on that wholeheartedly, okay? Because you did say after you talked to them, see, Democrats can't have these conversations. I think we try and have these conversations. The reason why it doesn't resonate is because I think when we're talking about such complex issues, we fortunately have a foundation of knowledge in that issue to where we can go into the complexity of it. I mean, again, you're trying to have a conversation about trans when the guy didn't even know what ovaries were. That's kind of hard. And let me tell you, there are a lot of men, grown men, who don't know. I mean, there's a video, they're asking, men, where do girls pee from? And I mean, they can't answer it. And so, going back, I mean, we can take it to, the economy. I mean, understanding how policies work, even just understanding how civics works and how
Well, what
laws
did I
are
tell the kid
passed.
though? What did I tell the kid? What did I tell him when I
Well,
wrapped up?
yeah,
I told him that usually when I go through these things, I understand what's happening, what I want to do, and how we're going to do it. And I make sure I understand if I give someone credit for something, We're not giving participation medals. And I said, like, participation.
Exactly.
I started off with an analogy with leaders in sports. And he even said to me, like, yeah, I mean, I've played football. I understand. Like, that would not be a good football captain. And it's like, okay, if that would not be a good football captain, would it be a good president? But I did tell him this is my thought process. The way I sound intelligent and the reason I do is because I have these values at the end. So, yeah, I definitely agree and disagree on certain points, but I've also seen liberals in action. I go to school board meetings. I know the local parties. I know how they talk to people. It's my strategy is unique. People don't have it, and I understand why, because it's a very emotional topic. Their kids are being discriminated against. Their kids are being subjected to losing civil rights. So I definitely understand it. But I definitely want to be someone that can at least try to cut through it, just so they know, like, if something crazy happens under Trump, when I have these conversations, that kid can go, wow, maybe that guy was right, and come back here,
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. And like I said, I'm looking at some of the comments and stuff. And one of the differences that I think is from the MAGA side, it's a team sport to them. Like, my guy won. And, anything that Democrats, again, because they're not my team, I want them to
lock
lose.
down the border. I'm happy you locked down the border.
Like, I'm an American before anything, and I really wish that Trump would be successful. But again, that just goes back on me actually knowing policies and what he's for. I don't see it happening, but I think I'm going in the weeds. Here's the one other thing that I wanted to call and talk about, and that is this border situation. So I'm not going to tell like where I live at, but I participated in one of the protests in one of the big cities here in the U.S. this past Sunday. And there's just a lot of misinformation and disinformation that we both know. And one of the things that I want to clarify for everybody is this term illegal immigrant. That is incorrect. There are no illegal immigrants. And let me tell you, yes, you can cross over our border and work, things like that, yada yada yada. But once you get caught, yes, that is against the law. But you know what? It's not a criminal offense. It is a civil offense. So again, that goes back into understanding foundational things. People have to understand what the difference between civil and criminal are when it comes to things. Okay, and so what's happening with the Trump administration now? They're not providing people their day in court to resolve that. 9 times out of 10, they're going to get booted out of here because, again, we know exactly what it is, which reminds me, Democrats have never come out and said that we are against deportations. We're upset about how it's happening, okay? If you look at deportations, we know that in Trump's first term, he had nowhere near the amount of deportations that Obama had, okay? And then Biden had just 50 million less, or 50,000, I'm sorry, than Trump after his first term. And so that shows you there, like, Democrats, we are for deportations, but there's a way to do it ethically, civically, and by the law. And that is where the issue is. And then number two, they're focusing on brown people. We know that's the target. That is the target. And so, of course, that's just wrong in itself. We're not going after the other, people who are here who are overstaying their visas, people who cross over from the Canadian border. I mean, that's the biggest issue that we want people to understand. Like, come on. Like, it can be done. It's been done better than Trump before. And, from other presidents, like, and why is he targeting? Like, we really want people to dig deep there and try and understand that. And we know it is, because he's a fucking racist.
Well, when he said he won the president, well, he says you could tell if they're a criminal just by looking at him. I was saying earlier, like, I'd rather him scream the N-word hard ER 50,000 times into the open rather than say that. That statement, you can tell they're criminals just by looking at them, is literally, that's the most racist, hateful thing you could possibly say about another person. But if you say that, you're going to be called a dumb liberal. And that's my big point about, like, everything that's happening right now, which is scary. We are either relying on the Trumpism, the Trump sexuality, as I call it, to die down a little bit so that all these voters who don't care that much about civic life at all, they don't really look into politics, they just come and vote against things because they're mad at people and they want to see people like in chains. They like seeing people deported. They like seeing trans people lose rights. They like seeing that stuff. They don't care about building anything up because their lives are probably fine. And Americans have things in a really privileged context. But we need to either have those people not vote as much, or we need to get people to really vote against that kind of stuff. Or another option is we need people to take care into thinking about this stuff on a deeper level, but the issue is people don't usually do that until they're forced to. And things are really cushy in America right now. They really are. All the Americans that were saying that they couldn't afford groceries, all those Americans are now quiet. I know people like that said, "Oh, my life is dying because of eggs. My child cannot eat because the eggs are so expensive." Now Trump won, no comment at all. I've talked to them, zero comment. They refuse to even talk about egg prices. They're like, "I'll pay more for Trump." Someone literally told me after saying they couldn't survive because of grocery prices. They literally said, "Well, if it's for Trump's tariffs, I could pay higher for a little bit." It's like, no, if you're actually in a struggling position, you did not vote for him, bro. There's no way you're okay with that if you're actually struggling.
But people have to look deep down and be able to be honest with themselves about it too.
But they don't until they're forced to by a big disaster, and that's the scary part. Is it might take a big disaster again for them to snap out of it, just like it did in the World Wars. That's why it happened, because the extremism got so crazy globally. It had to be the World War for people to snap out of it. It had to be.
And what's crazy too, and we can add this part, using Christianity to back themselves up more from a moral perspective, one of the key tenets is empathy for your neighbors. And that also is kind of like pisses me off, because it's like, okay, until it affects you, you're not interested, or, you'll even vote against it. But once you feel it, and once you're like, oh, this can happen to me, then you get involved. We shouldn't even have to let it get to that level. And like I said, yes, I think it's going to have to be something bad to happen here that affects a lot of people before they snap. But what sucks, Jola, what fucking sucks, is that there are going to be so many innocent people caught in the crosshairs.
And the crazy people in charge right now are going to tear apart the government as much as possible before 2026. They want to do whatever they can before 2026 to make things as literally just bad as possible. And even with, like, someone just said, you wouldn't let a stranger walk into your house. Why do you let them walk into your country? If you think like that, you are not thinking with any type of sanity. And also, you're not a Christian. You're not a Christian, because Jesus would not say that. Jesus would not. He would not say that. And there's a reason why so many Christians in the U.S. focus on the Old Testament. There's a reason they focus on Judeo-Christian values. They only like the Old Testament because if they cared about, they are, honestly, if you really think about it, they follow the Old Testament and then they like Jesus as their, like, savior. But they really do ignore the New Testament. I've been to churches that are like these independent, really conservative churches that don't follow any denomination. They might just follow just like a very what they see as a textualist, or not textualist, but fundamentalist reading of like the Bible, but and of everything being or literalist or whatever. But they talk about the Old Testament. They actually do, like, actively avoid the New Testament. It's actually kind of crazy. They quote ancient Hebrew more than they quote the New Testament.
Which, if they were real Christians, they know that once the new covenant with Jesus and he died for their sins, the Old Testament rules were no longer in place. There's a new covenant. But
and
again,
Jesus never said anything directly about gay people at all. Jesus never said anything at all. He never quoted it. And also, the only strong statements about it were in the Old Testament. The only strong statements in Leviticus do not count if you're a Christian. They do not matter if you're a Christian. They matter in a sense of maybe you could learn from it. Maybe those were the words that were recorded at the time. But like you said, the new covenant with Jesus, the point of the New Testament was living the values. That was the point of it. The Old Testament was more of a stories or parables or whatever. It's just like people, but it's hard for me to even understand because maybe they don't care. Maybe, I mean, they say the grocery prices don't matter. The Constitution doesn't matter after worshiping that. Maybe they'll just say, I mean, who cares? We got to take care of it. Tough decisions need to be made. They believe in a form of paternalism and patriarchy where they need to have Big Brother, 1984. They need to have a Big Brother or a Big Daddy. They call Trump Daddy. They need to have that big strong man tell them where to go because they're betas. It's a beta ideology. That's why they call other people betas, because they're insecure. It's the beta ideology. They can't think for themselves. They need the big strong man to tell them where to go because they only have access to the primitive emotions of anger and fear. Then they can't make any intellectual or complicated decisions, so they go to the big strong man in the end. That's the whole cycle of history.
And, I know probably people who are in the chat, like, are listening to us and thinking, like, we're beating up. No, that's not the case. Like I said, I am truly sympathetic to you, and I feel even more, again, for your neighbors and everyone else who's going to be caught in a crosshairs, who could lose their lives, just so many different things right now. And I'm just asking you guys, I'm not talking to you now, Joel, I'm talking to the listeners. Can you guys just really take a step back and, like, look at what we're saying and look at what's happening? Like, this isn't, again, it's not a team sport. We don't want our team to win because, oh, wow, that means we won you guys over you guys. Woo, we're winners, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. No, that's not the case. We're just wanting we're wanting everybody to have a fair shot, and we're wanting everybody to just be safe. And
they know they're
like
weak. They know they're weak. They understand it. That's why they advocate for a society. They feel that they need to convince us to go back to a society where they're in charge by default. That's why all these men are joining this group, because they want to be in charge by default, and they're mad that they have to do all the social justice stuff. They're just annoyed by it, and yeah, they're taught to think like children. And Trump floods the zone. He floods it intentionally, so they don't have a chance to step back and think for a second. And people are addicted to their freaking phones and gambling and whatever else is going to break their brains, and they're blaming other people. Like, they're blaming other people for those issues, for their own insecurities. They're taking it out on others. They're living their own like power fantasy through him. That's the entire point of this. Yeah.
It is, and it's just fucking sad.
And it's weak. It's weak and pathetic. It's weak. It's not manly. It's not masculine. You are pathetic. You are weak. You should be your own person. You should not be a Trump sexual. That's why the word Trump sexual needs to go mainstream, because you need to realize what you're doing is a form of adoration. This erotic fascination with this big, strong man that you have to follow because you don't have anything to actually stand on yourself. Work on yourself. Yeah. Clean your damn room like Jordan Peterson told you back before he lost it and became a Trump sexual too. Pick yourself up. Get your just like take care of yourself, bro. Get some confidence. You don't have to follow what the big rich billionaire tells you to think. Get some confidence. Look at your community. Meet your neighbors. Stop thinking about things that aren't true because you're scared easily. You scare easily. Yeah. That's what you do. You scare easily. You get mad easily. You follow laser pointers around. Politicians can lie to you any second. They can tell you literally anything. They'll be taking away your family. You'll be laughing at it.
And realize
you lose touch.
They're utilizing your fear against you. You know, like they
they're
know
coming
you're
for you too, buddy.
Yeah.
If they take power, they're coming for you. They see you as economic inputs. You are economic inputs to them. They don't care about you or your life. They will kill you if they have AI bots to do the jobs that we do. They will kill us. You realize that. You have to understand that. You need to understand that.
I'll say this last thing and then I'll let you go. I know we've been talking for a sec here, but again, it's just to hopefully educate, just like
you're all riled up.
Trying to do. It's unfortunate. I've been riled up since November 5th, and just really trying to figure out what can we do to get people to understand, or, because I've tried to understand their point of view. And like I said, I asked them, well, explain it to me, or, just like the guy who I heard you earlier with, but they can't properly explain it. So that lets me know right there, okay, again, they don't know what they're talking about. Let me try and educate them. But again, it just goes in one ear out the other.
Many of them know that. They do it on purpose. Like the guys I spoke to earlier today, I don't know if you were here for that, but the first two callers I took, they were actively just propagandists. They basically admit they didn't care about the truth. They were trying to make people angry and hate each other, which is easy. Those are the easiest human emotions to access, are anger and fear. By the way, Michael, if you try donating, it said spread your word, big bro. You requested $10. If Michael was watching, you requested $10 from me. You asked me to send you $10. So if you're trying to donate on Cash App, then sorry, I could not send you $10, whoever Michael is, but thank you for requesting money.
But yeah, I know you got to go to another caller as well. Like I said, just keep what you're doing. Like I said, a part of me is like, I just hope it's not futile to an extent. But one last thing too, I do want to say. So I work in a certain industry. I'm not going to say it again. It's a pretty good industry, and we had various committees that people could join. And so I did join our DEI community or committee, and I'm just kind of shocked at just, again, all of the misinformation and disinformation about what DEI is.
It's when you hire unqualified black people to fill jobs that whites should have. That's what they think it is.
Yeah. And again, which is just completely untrue. And again, this is a committee. So again, it's not even, we have control over hiring process and things like that. But I want to just tell everybody who's listening, the number one thing we did is we went out to impoverished neighborhoods where people don't have an opportunity, or they don't have a level, playing fields for if they go to college, or even just, working at particular companies. That is what a majority, and I say over 50, maybe even 60% of what DEI does across the country. It's giving people an even playing field. There aren't fucking quotas that companies...
That includes rural whites, by the way. That includes rural whites. Yes. Rural whites are included in the DEI, by the way. DEI programs at colleges, rural whites get their own fund. I don't know if anyone really cares or knows about that, but...
Yes, like that's what I'm saying, and thank you for adding it in. That's what I wanted to say. Like, yes, a lot of it went to rural whites. Like, that is what we do in DEI. And the whole idea of you have to fill a quota, these are fucking private companies. They don't have to fill
they
a
are
quota
dumb.
to anybody.
No,
Like,
they
you
hire
don't
dumb
have to
consulting groups to get away their legal liability for civil rights suits if they mistreat different groups of people. Those companies are not who you are supposed to follow. If people make books in different dumb organizations to profit, those are not the leaders of this kind of stuff. And if you are angry, by the way, if you are very sympathetic to like this DEI thing is evil, get it out of here. The woke ideology is corrupting society. You are anti Martin Luther King Jr. You are anti civil rights movement. You are anti those movements. You don't care that LBJ and his executive orders are being rolled back. You don't care. You're anti civil rights movement. We need to keep saying
You're
that
anti
because people don't
your
believe.
rights being removed.
Yeah, your rights
if you
too.
think
Like the
these
Lake and
people
Riley
are
Act.
gonna... Yeah, go ahead.
The Lake and Riley Act tearing away due process. Lake and Riley Act using her name, using her death. I don't care if her parents are on board. I don't care if her parents are on board. Using her death to take away due process when we know there's American citizens being detained. You can be accused of a crime and be deported. That is bad for everyone.
You don't think they're going to use that against you eventually? Like, come on.
Someday they can. But these same people will be like, the Second Amendment is going to protect from tyranny. It doesn't matter if you have a gun if you're going to give away the government. If you're going to give away your freedom, like you're going to willingly just give it away because you're so obsessed with wokeism. You are so obsessed with gender and sexuality that your little baby brain gets mad and lashes out at literally anything that moves. Like, can you just take a second and breathe?
And that's what I just want. Like I said, this is, you ask anybody who's really worked with DEI, like, this is what it is, and you're being lied to.
I'm scared to say it now. Yeah, they have spies in the federal government now. If you see any DEI, tell us or you're going to be reprimanded. You have to report all DEI. We're going to kill it. Like
being
crazy.
A student of history, like, come on, like, that is total.
J.D. Vance saying the professors are the enemy. J.D. Vance saying that the professors are the enemy. Yeah. The doctors, the scientists. That is. Hitler said that, brother, for a particular reason, chat. Hitler said that, chat, for a reason. Hitler said the professors are bad, chat. Hitler said the woke ideology. He just said Jewish ideology instead, chat. And it was all this weird stuff about returning to your cultural norms, chat, and your national identity, chat. So if you really think about it, there is a reason to compare these movements. And Guantanamo Bay being opened back up to send immigrants to, are you freaking kidding me? You guys are so fake. You guys, Donald Trump is George Bush on steroids, but you guys like him because because you're Trump sexuals, bro. I'm not even going to explain the deeper part behind that. You're Trump sexuals.
Hey, and I am going to let you go, but I was going to say, hey, we're reclaiming the word woke, okay? I'm half black, half white. I've heard woke before it even became part of the zeitgeist here in the last, 4 to 8 years.
Well, yeah, it was a black,
Trump
yeah.
Side. Yes, and it means literally being awake to injustices. That's not just black injustices, that's injustices across the board. And I really fucking hate. And this was planned. This was planned by the Heritage Foundation. They literally wanted to take this word and bastardize it, and so that we now, look, people just misuse it all the fucking time. Anything you don't like, but especially black, is woke. And so, like I said, Jola, I implore you, this is what we're doing. We are taking that word back. Okay. Yes, I am awake to injustices. I know you are as well.
Okay, that's what I said before. Well, take it back. We have the woke ideology. Okay, we talk about why everyone deserves a fair shot because we have a woke ideology. They talk about why Donald Trump should be a king because they have the choke ideology.
I've never heard.
Because they're choking. They're choking on Donald Trump's
dick.
Trump Towers.
For you.
But yeah, that's the response. If they say dumb statements, respond with dumb answers. I mean, it's what we got to do. Make being on this side fun. Make it fun. Yeah. And by the way, thank you so much for the gifted membership. I'm not sure if you meant to do a membership for yourself, Brenda, but thank you so much for gifting one Jola Talks Politics membership. But yeah, if you want to do it for yourself, I'm not sure if you want to just give it to someone else because I don't think you're a member. Oh, you give Sterlo a membership? Not Sterlo. That's like the worst option.
But Joe, like I said, keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, I would prefer you to be a little bit more fiery. I mean, think of it. I want you to be the AOC of this arena.
That combo was my most toned down ever because I know it's a kid and I know it was also a training session for that kind of thing because I know his ideology is not built, so he's not going to be offended necessarily. But I can make him become a radical Nazi if I don't take my time on it. But also just in general, I think we. Yeah, I agree. It's hard. Yeah, we just need to be here, be saying the right thing. Democrats are terrible at messaging. Watching Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries talk makes me want to literally die. Hakeem Jeffries is like, oh my god. I like Jasmine Crockett.
Using
She's
your
awesome.
fucking hands, Hakeem. Like, I get it. That's
he
what you
talks so
learned
slow
in
too.
Politician
Did you see
101.
the response to Donald Trump's federal shutdown was Donald Trump has violated his contract with America. He had a picture. He had a little contract printed out. So you see the contract Donald Trump broke? The Democrats will protect the contract of America. It's like, have you not been alive yet? Are you just born? Were you just born as like a 60? How old is he? Like 60? Like, I know it's your turn to be head of the party, but we cannot do turns anymore. It should be who's ready to do this.
Yeah, this old guard needs to go. And see, here's another thing, MAGA people listening. Not all Democrats like Nancy Pelosi and some of the things that, she stands for. Look, she was great at fundraising. She did some really impressive things. She was the first woman who did these things as well. But there are some really big things that we don't like. And we can say that. Y'all rarely say that about your side. And I only mention that because, again, you brought up Hakeem. I am very wary of him because he's her protege. But yeah, it's like
he's just boring too. I'm like, bro, what's going on? And I know like Chuck Schumer's boring. It's just we need some fire.
They need to go, and that's why I'm all behind AOC. She's literally the only
Jasmine Crockett is hilarious. Also, dude, Jasmine Crockett's great.
Hey, I wasn't gonna say where I live, but she's I'm in her district, so yeah, I fucking love her. She was right down the street.
She said something the other day that really got me. It's freaking awesome. But yeah, she's really good. She's really good, and they pull it back too. They pull it back when they need to. So like, oh, what did she say? Yeah, she said, if this, and by the way, thank you so much for the new viewers. Other ways to donate are through Jola Politics on Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal. If you like what I do, if you like what I'm saying, just get a dopamine hit, okay? It's a good dopamine hit to hit send on Cash App. It feels great, trust me. When you see Jola Politics, you hit send, you're sending it to me, and I'm gonna like just yell louder. You'll love it.
Well, hopefully this is giving you some energy to continue to teach people too. Hey, you're not only taking, debate, calls, but, reaffirm, everything that you're saying, people who agree with you also. So
yeah,
I'll let you get back to
it too. Oh yeah, but the Jasmine Crockett tweet that got me going, just real quick. She said, if this is what the MAGA, and this is when the federal freeze happened, if this is what the MAGA mandate looks like, then as I said before, Christianity ain't the foundation of it, but cruelty and chaos are.
Nope.
For F's sake, though, Project 2025 said they would F with Head Start. No one listened. I'm going to have my staff find footage of me warning of this. And these dumb Fs literally moved in and breaking all of our good shit in real time. If this ain't some Beverly Hillbilly billionaire bullshit, I don't know what is. I'm going to get into my office, into my official capacity and do a quick IG Live before my district swearing in shortly. If you follow me on that page, tune in. Then someone said, wouldn't want to miss that rant, flipping that hair and running that filthy mouth. She said, you may actually learn something since I know education isn't valued around your parts. Join us.
Yeah, and you brought up. You just said
it's
Project
funny too. People like being yelled at.
You just brought up Project 2025 too. Come on, everybody listening in. Trump said it multiple times. He had no clue what Project 2025 was, and
Liar.
we said yes, he does. Can
media,
you guys
the left
at
media,
least
bro.
admit now and say, "Oh shit, look at all these executive orders. Oh wow." These are all Project 2025. Oh, wait, all of the people who were in the metadata, did you hear about that over at the OBM?
Yeah, they tried wiping it.
That email, yeah. And then
but Trump can spread lies about $50 million of condoms sent to Palestinians because they're going to use it for bombs. We sent 1 billion condoms to Palestine. That's amazing. Oh, wow. You learn new stuff every day.
Like, why can't, you would think, be like, hey, holy shit, Trump lied. This is major. Because a lot of Republicans don't like Project 2025 either once they saw the shit that was in there. So, like, can you guys take a step back and be honest and say, if he lied about that and we're seeing it now in real time, what the fuck else has he lied to us about, and what else is he going to lie to us about? But anyways, I really do need to go. I need to go walk my dog before the rain starts. Good luck to you guys, and yeah, keep it up, all right?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Agenda 47. By the way, they do like being yelled at in a certain way. Just like, remember, they like paternalism. So paternalism, they like being talked to like they like a daddy. They call him daddy for a reason, okay? They call Trump daddy because they are betas. And they call other people betas because they know they're betas, so they feel insecure. But they have no ability to channel any other emotions other than anger and fear. So when it comes to complicated topics, they get mad about it, frustrated. They say liberals are condescending. And then they say, I need a big daddy like Trump to solve all the problems for me because I don't know how to do this. So Trump is going to be my anger outlet. So Trump takes over. They call him daddy because they like paternalism. They like feeling like they're being yelled at. And when they say, I'm doing this for you, you might not like what I'm doing, but I'm doing it for your own benefit. You know, you'll understand. I'm doing this because I love you. And also, in general, Trump saying Colombia, they weren't going to take our immigrants. They weren't going to take the deportations. They weren't going to take it. But I told Colombia, Trump said this, by the way, I told Colombia, you're going to take it and you're going to like it. You're going to like it. And it's like they use that language for a reason. The domination fantasy, the followers like being dominated because they don't have any control themselves. So when you talk authoritatively to them, they respect it. It channels something in their brain. I don't know if it's daddy issues or mommy issues, but something connects. That's your opinion? No, it's literally a sexuality called Trump sexuality. Like, true. Yeah, you public utility, true. Condescending, no way to win an argument? Shut up. God. You can't, like, have someone be so successful who literally is only condescending and an asshole, like Trump, and then be like, tone down your rhetoric. When I don't even say things, even somewhat close in severity. See? Yikes. Zero support for Jola. I think he gets off to thinking he's intellectually superior to the rest of us. No, I get off knowing that I have self-control and I'm not a little baby beta. And I don't have to follow stronger men that have opinions. I don't have to just repeat slogans like a dumbass. I don't think I'm smarter than you. I just know I have more self-control and more discipline. You don't have discipline? You're on a YouTube short stream right now talking garbage for no reason. Like, what are you doing? Go do something. Go do some push-ups before bed. And like I said earlier, don't yell too loud because I don't want your mom to wake up upstairs. It might be cold in the basement, but if you do some workouts and some stretches, you'll be able to feel more comfortable. 9 scariest words from Ronald Reagan. I'm the government and I'm here to help. No, actually, the scariest words are, I'm a corporate overlord and I control your kid's healthcare and I don't feel like giving your kid healthcare because I want to deny his claim. That's really the scary part. The government, by the people, for the people, as our founding fathers intended. That's why you hate the Constitution. You are anti-Constitution. You hate the Constitution. You hate the Bible too, by the way. But you're anti-Constitution because you don't believe in government. Our founding fathers made it clear. We need a government, a strong government for the people and by the people. We need a strong government. Anyone telling you to get rid of government is a corrupt mother, is a corrupt guy, is a corrupt dude. Okay? They want no government because they know if there's no government, there's no one to hold corporations accountable. In the same way that the founding fathers knew. The founding fathers knew this. You should read up on the papers that they wrote when they were passing the Constitution after the Articles of Confederation failed. Remember, we had 1970 or 1776 was not the start of our country. It was not the start of our country. It really was not. It was not the start of our Constitution. It was not the start of what it really was. The Constitution was ratified in 1787. Because the conservatives took over at first and failed, and then the Democrats had to actually make a real government because the conservative government failed. It's like history repeats itself so often. The Federalists and Anti-Federalists. Who? I'm just chatting right now, by the way. What's up, chat? Like I said, if you want to support the stream, Jola Politics, okay? At Jola Politics. If you want to call in to the stream to debate or to have a conversation, it's late. My running price right now for call-ins is $10 to Cash App or Venmo with your name, your first name, and your phone number. Or you can join Discord and do the same way. Thank you, Jordan. Blue Crab Food Network, and I am currently Blue Crab Food Network and Blue Crab Food Network and I are currently researching ways to get soy-free strawberry milk fresh from Trump stands, milk maker straight to your plate. Jordan, the kind of stuff you try to fit in super chats is insane, okay? I don't know how you try to make these messages work. You make these messages work in this like very small chat window, very small character limit, but you know. Where's the Zelle? I don't have a Zelle yet, dude. Oh, I just hit myself. Oh, God. I meant to hit my desk. I just punched something else. That was not good. Oh man. Ouch. Ow. I don't feel good now. Where's my $10? Thank you, Ben. Read mandate for leadership, page 592, last bullet point. Mandate for leadership. Mandate for leadership. 592. By the way, just for a sense of Project 2025 for you guys. So I want to look on page 592 because we got a super chat from Ben. Thank you. But let's look how far we have to scroll down. So I have one of those mouses that you could, or the mice, mouses. So this is 2025. Okay. The Trump plan that he was able to lie about because the media is on Team Trump. CNN loves Trump, unironically. So I'm gonna go down with my scroll wheel. Okay. I have one of the scroll wheels that unlocks. Okay, we're gonna go as fast as we can to see how big this is. I gotta go to 592 for Ben. Okay. I feel like I'm reading something that Nazis wrote, bro. I feel like I'm looking into like a secret document that's for like the collapse of society, which is kind of is. Okay. You said 5? What was it again? 592. Last point. DOL should maintain an overtime threshold that does not punish businesses in lower cost regions, i.e. the Southeast U.S. The Trump era threshold is high enough to capture most workers. Congress should clarify the regular rate for overtime pay is based on the salary paid rather than the benefits provided. So yeah, so Congress should clarify that the regular rate for overtime pay is based on the salary paid rather than benefits provided. This is literally just how to steal from workers 101. Congress should provide flexibility to employers or employees to calculate overtime period over a longer number of weeks. Specifically, employers and employees should be able to set a 2 or 4 week period to which calculate overtime. This would give workers greater flexibility to work more hours in 1 week and fewer hours in the next, and would not require the employer to pay them more for that same total number of hours of work during the entire period. Employers and employees should be able to set 2 or 4 week periods to calculate overtime to give workers more flexibility, work more hours and fewer hours in the next, and would not require the employer to pay them more for that same number of hours during the entire period. Total number. So examples of this. The current rule is if an employee works 50 hours in 1 week and 30 hours the next, they would get 10 hours of overtime for the first week because they worked 50 hours that 1 week. The proposed rule would be that the 2 weeks would be averaged at 40 hours per week, meaning no overtime would be paid. So you can work 80 hours, for example. You can work 1 week for 80 hours and then 0 hours the next week and get paid 0 overtime. So employers would be able to fuck with... Ooh, I didn't mean to curse. Ooh, I gotta go to bed. I didn't say that. That just flew off my tongue. Employers would be able to mess with your schedule and essentially overload your schedule 1 week and then overload your schedule, and then cut your hours the next week and avoid paying overtime. So it's literally just a way to screw over workers. That's scary, bro. Thank you for sharing that. It would still conflict with state legislation. That doesn't matter. These people don't care about laws. They don't care about laws. Yeah. They want to make it. They want to make people into be more of robots, essentially. Congress should establish a bright line test based on the level of control and individual exercise. Determine whether a payee is an employee or an independent contractor. Would that expand? Would that mean that you can kind of like consider an employee a contractor and not give them full benefits? The bright line test. There's different laws to see like what a worker qualifies as. So basically, this allows for workers to work for a company, and then a company can say, actually, this worker qualifies to be a full-time contractor instead, meaning that a company does not need to give benefits because they're contractors. So they want to make a rule that businesses can hire you and then just say you're a contractor and take away your benefits. So that's another thing, to take away your benefits. Home office is not subject to OSHA. This was just like saying you can't reimburse work from home expenses. Like, they're literally just like attacking people in the dumbest ways possible. Meanwhile, they want to cut taxes for the top 1%, but they're gonna make your like home reimbursements. If you buy a desk for your home office, when you reimburse it through work, they want to make that taxable. They want to tax you on your home office, your desk that you buy for work, but they want to cut taxes for the ultra wealthy. The conservative promise. Congress should incentivize on-site childcare across the spectrum of professional childcare options. On-site care puts the least stress on the parent-child bond. Okay. Yeah, it's like the worst employee handbook ever, where the government is taken over by corporations and they institute all your boss's worst policies and force you to live under them in an authoritarian government. It's terrible. It's like really bad. This is literally if like the worst corporate boss in the world was able to set labor policies and labor regulations. It's like during the Gilded Age. The book The Jungle. Read The Jungle, by the way. Read The Jungle. Read the book The Jungle, please, if you have not. Phase out H-2B visa plan for non-agricultural seasonal workers. Phase down H-2B. Eliminate all forms of forced or compulsory labor. Protect workers' rights to organize and participate voluntarily in a union without employee. Okay, wait. So, leveling the international playing field for workers. Eliminate all forms of forced or compulsory labor. Protect workers' rights to organize and participate voluntarily in a union without employer interference or discrimination. Create a rapid response mechanism to provide for an independent panel investigation of denial of labor rights in covered facilities. Shift the burden of proof by presuming that an alleged violation affects trade and investment, unless otherwise demonstrated. See, this is like when you read the Doctrine of Fascism, and they just say like, I love workers in the middle. Because the Doctrine of Fascism said a lot of really popular sounding stuff. So, Yeah, I know no overtime paid in the military. I know, yeah. We need to protect, we want to protect workers. The point of the military is you kind of sign up, you know? You kind of know that signing up. So these 4 things sound popular, but they don't mean them. They probably did that to get the endorsement of the Teamsters leader, whatever you want to call him. But yeah, it's like, you know, they don't believe this, and they're acting in ways that are against this. Personnel. Maximize hiring of political appointees. At its best, the Trump administration, Department of Labor, worked with up to 150 political appointees. Maximize political appointees. Appoint new NLRB general counsels on day 1. Implement hiring freeze for career officials. A hiring freeze imposes a financial discipline on agencies, personnel costs, and reduces agency bloat. And in this 900-page document, yeah, it's the hiring freeze. We just scrolled down a couple pages. That's great. This is nice. I love this, bro. All right, guys. I'm gonna go to bed. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. It is like reading the 25 points. It is. It's crazy, but it's a lot longer and more diabolical. What did they say about, like, what are the different sections? A lot of this is about shifting power over to where departments will have to follow political appointees so Trump can have maximum control. So, like what they're doing in North Carolina right now. In North Carolina, they're shifting around the responsibility of different positions to try and make sure the Democratic elected officials lose power in their positions, and other offices will now take responsibility of those sectors in the government. So that's a lot of this as well. Hazard order regulations. Some young adults show an interest in inherently dangerous jobs. Current rules forbid many young people, even if their family is running the business, from working in such jobs. This results in worker shortages in dangerous fields and often discourages otherwise interested young workers from trying the more dangerous job. With parental consent and proper training, certain young adults should be allowed to learn and work in more dangerous occupations. This would give a green light to training programs and build skills in teenagers who may want to work in these fields. DOL should amend its hazard order regulations to permit teenage workers access to work in regulated jobs with proper training and parental consent. Encourage and enable religious organizations to participate in apprenticeship programs. Both the DOL and NLRB should facilitate. The DOL and NLRB should facilitate religious organizations helping to strengthen working families via apprentices. Oh my God. Facilitate religious organizations. Man. They want the kids working in the meat plants, bro. They want to put the kids in the meat plants. We're going back to the they literally want to go back to the 1890s, by the way. Like, these policies are 1890 policies. They sound modern, but they're 1890 policies. DOJ. No, they want to get rid of regulations that help people. They'll keep the regulations that don't help people. Coal production. Restoring... I'm going to bed. Restoring American energy dominance. Given... Bro, okay. Knowing what we know about Biden's oil drilling, okay? All-time highs, 2023, record high, American energy independence. And a key section, restoring American energy dominance. Given the dire, adverse national impact of Biden's war on fossil fuels, no other initiative is as important for the DOI under a conservative president then the restoration of the department's historic role managing the nation's vast storage of hydrocarbons, much of which is yet to be discovered. Okay. God, bro. And the funny part is when they give Trump an executive order, he doesn't look at these. He does not read these. Trump has no idea what he's putting his dumb name on. Like, they'll just be like, okay, Trump, you have another one. He's like, okay, what is this one about? Well, this one bans this one bans clean air. He's like, oh, cool. Wow, we're doing so much good things. It's the golden age of America. Okay, guys. Don't make me read Project 2025 before bed, okay? Not nice. Yeah, true. Oh, thank you guys for all the memberships and donations and Cash Apps and Venmos. Droll Up Politics also if you want to donate to one of my Venmos or Cash App again. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'll hop into Discord again. We have therapy after streams. So if you're in Discord, we have our therapy session in Discord. If you want. For 5 minutes. I'm going to get a snack. I'm hungry. Ooh, I made tacos today, bro. I made tacos. It was good. I want some tacos now. Talk about it. Trump sexuals, yes. Come in Discord, guys. Only DJ and Admiral Hackett are there. Are you guys trying to talk? Is Admiral Hackett a person that was trying to talk? It's not good tacos. It's literally just like 80%, 20% beef, and the taco kit. The kit that gives you all the stuff you need. You put it in the meat, and then it's the taco kit. I don't really make tacos, dude. It's more similar to Taco Bell. They are tasty though. If you want to talk about politics on stream, Joseph Hall. We could talk for the stream tomorrow, but I've been streaming. I think I streamed for like 8 hours today because I streamed earlier today too. So. All right. Good night, guys. Good night. See you in Discord. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Yeah, they're sending the immigrants to Guantanamo Bay. Yes, J-Rose. It's terrible. We talked about that earlier. I did like 8 different streams today. Thank you for hopping in, though. Hope to see you around tomorrow. We'll be streaming around 10 p.m. Eastern time. But yeah, the Guantanamo Bay stuff is insane. And the facilities there are meant for 700 people. Trump said 30,000, but he just lies. He just says fake things. So, I mean, it's not much we can really do there, right? I don't know what to do. Bad. Sterlo. I appreciate you, Sterlo. That's funny. That's hilarious. Sterlo voted 3 times. Is my Discord a trumpet show? I mean, my plan for the Discord is to make one chat for everyone. And then we're going to have... Here's the Discord links. We're going to have one chat for everyone. Then we're going to have... when you go in Discord, you choose your ideology in Discord. So there's one chat everyone talks in. So we do have a lot of conservatives in there. But they're chill enough. We're going to have Discords that are for just conservatives and just for liberals too. For when people don't want to debate. So if you join Discord, I'll make those channels and make it better tomorrow. But I'm tired. I will make a Zell for the people asking. Thank you guys. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a fantastic night. The Trumpsexuals. They love the Trumpsexuals. $8 eggs. On the libs. $8 eggs. Also, I appreciate everyone that's here before I stream saying that I'm late. I do appreciate that, unironically. I do appreciate that. It's an honor. It's an honor that you'll listen to me talk for 4 hours a day. It really is an honor. I really do appreciate it. No, we say Trumpsexuals, not MAGA sexuals. Because MAGA gives them too much power. It's Trumpsexual. Yeah, Maddie? Yeah, Maddie? LOL. Thank you, Future Marine. Pick a crying corner, bro. Alright, guys. Appreciate it. Oh, wait, someone said they're banned in chat? I don't know who got banned in chat. We're not worthy. True, Adam. You're so woke. Wrong. You're. America's tired of you. They really are the people that beat you in Madden like once. You know? You ever have a friend that you beat in Madden or like 2K or Call of Duty all the time? And you never brag, but they beat you by like 1 point once and they just like brag nonstop because they're like weak and pathetic and stupid. And they never won in their life, so they have to like use this as their entire personality now. And they have to compensate. They have to compensate for literally everything they do. You know those people? You ever know those people? You don't have friends though. You're on a YouTube. Think about it for a second, okay? You just joined a YouTube Shorts chat, all right? On a day where I got 500 new subscribers. And took time out of your night to pound your fingers on the screen to say you have no friends. Just take a step back and think about your life right now. And I hope you find a way out of the depression that you're in. I do appreciate you. All right, have a good night, guys. Thank you, mods. Thank you, mods. Thank you, chat. Thank you. I miss eggs. Eggs are yummy. I did not care. I miss eggs, bro. I might go splurge. With all these donations, bro. Hey, yo, someone drop... I need to buy eggs tomorrow. Can someone drop $2,826 in my account? I think I could buy one egg with that. We're in Venezuela now with the inflation. Thank you, Trump. Thanks, Trump. All right. You're welcome, son. Honestly, these next 4 years are going to be great. I'm not depressed at all. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be depressed when Trump's last year came. You know, the thing that people that are not depressed say is, I'm not going to be depressed. Like, people who are not... See, that's what I mean. People who are confident, they make it a point to say, like, I'm not going to be depressed, by the way. I know you did not ask me, but I'm not going to be depressed. I'm not depressed. I'm not sad. All right, guys. Good night. Thank you.